So next week, Bank of Uganda will be selling off 3 treasury bonds. The 15-year bond that matures in 2039 with a coupon rate of 15.8%. This is going to be the last time Bank of Uganda is selling off that bond. The one that has a coupon rate of 15.8%, it matures in 2039. It's going to be the last time Bank of Uganda will be selling it off as a 15-year bond. Now, it has a potential that it can come back later in the years. It can come back as a 10-year bond. They can choose to bring it back as a 5-year bond, but as a 15-year bond, it's the last time Bank of Uganda is going to be selling off this bond, with a plan to introduce a new 15-year bond in September 23rd. They will be selling off the 5-year bond, the one that matures in 2032. That bond was recently brought back on the market in July, and that one is continuing. And then they will also be selling off the 2-year bond. And importantly, the decision to invest is going to come back to the market dynamics we are in right now versus the investment goals majority of us always aspire to have. Let's start with the 15-year bond. For so many people who always want to compound with one particular bond and get paid one single time every single year, and you have been accumulating either the 20-year bond that matures in 2043 or the 15-year bond that matures in 2039, because those two bonds pay on the same time, next week is your last chance to buy one of those bonds, especially the 15-year bond. You can buy them on the secondary market between this week and next week, and potentially in September. But on the primary market by Bank of Uganda, the last time is next week. The last time the 15-year bond was auctioned off, that was on July 30th. That bond came in at a cutoff yield of 15.65%. It's extremely important to recognize where we are coming from. Before that, before the July 30th, the same bond was auctioned off on July 2nd, and it came in at a cutoff yield of 15.75%, which means in 28 days between July 2nd and July 30th, there was a 10 basis point reduction in its cutoff yield. But the bigger story is not being told by the 15-year bond. It's being told by its sister bond, the 2043. Those two bonds have moved in tandem for the last 2.5 years and have controlled the bond market in Uganda. The 20-year bond was sold off last week on July 13th, and it came out at a cutoff yield of 15.65%. You can see the 20-year bond came out at a cutoff yield that was previously a cutoff yield for the 15-year bond, which tells you a story that right now we are in a period where the interest rates are easing, they are coming down. However, when you pay attention to the 20-year bond, the 2043 bond, the last time it was auctioned off before the August 13th, that was on July 15th. On July 15th, it came in at a 15.95% cutoff yield. Remember, the coupon rate doesn't change. So between July 15th and August 13th, 28 days of later, the 20-year bond that matures in 2043 contracted, its interest rate reduced by 30 basis points, or 0.3%. Are we going to see the same in the 15-year bond? Because if that is what we are going to end up seeing, the 20-year bond, it reduced by 30 basis points, that gives you an indication that even potentially the 15-year bond might come in at the same reduction of 30 basis points. Now, the last time it was auctioned off on July 30th, it came in at a cutoff yield of 15.65%. If somehow, somewhere, this bond is to retain its cutoff yield of 15.65%, which is highly unlikely. It's not improbable, but it's highly unlikely. Then, whoever will buy the 15-year bond will pay a premium of close to 3%. However, if the 15-year bond is to have a reduction of close to 30 basis points and it comes out at a cutoff yield of 15.35%, then whoever will buy the bond will pay a premium of 4.6%, close to 5%. Now, 4.6% for a bond that has a net premium, a net coupon of 14.22% or 7.1 every 6 months, that might be okay. So that is the 15-year bond. My prediction, I do not foresee this bond coming in at a yield that is lower than 15%, given that the 15-year bond came in, the 10-year bond that was recently auctioned off on August 13th came in at a cutoff yield of 15%. So my prediction is between 15.2% to 15.65%. There is a small chance that somehow, somewhere, we might end up squeezing in above a 15.75%, but it's extremely highly unlikely. The fact that Bank of Uganda has put in place so many auction periods for treasury bonds and treasury bills almost every after other week, that they are not in so much demand for money. They can reject as much money as they want and they still get that money in the next auction that might take place. As you might know, this auction is going to take place on August 29th, and then on September 9th, September 10th, they'll have another treasury bond auction for the new 20-year bond, which we shall do an analysis for. So my prediction for the 15-year bond is we are looking at paying a premium of between 3% to 5%, with a cutoff yield of 15.2% to 15.65%, with a higher stretch of 15.75%. I do not see it going above 15.75%. Then for the 5-year bond, for the people who love the 5-year bond because it has a lower withholding tax, it's a medium-term bond with a 10% withholding tax. It has a coupon rate of 15%. The last time it was auctioned off, it came in at a cutoff yield of 14.25%. It was a signal of where interest rates are going. The 5-year bond and the 10-year bond are the strongest indicator of the yield curve. The last time the 10-year bond was auctioned off in the market, it came in at a 15% cutoff yield, the 2037, which means the 5-year bond, it might easily retain the 14.25%, though I feel it's still very low in the primary market. It might squeeze and come in at 14.5%. If it comes in at 14.25%, we shall pay a 6.5% premium for those of you who will go for the 5% for the 5-year bond. If it squeezes and it regains even some 25 basis points, it will come in at around 5.6% premium. My recommendation, if it's not too much that you just can't invest in the 15-year bond, do not buy the 5-year bond. Its cutoff yield is so low in the market. You rather buy the 15-year bond. If you do not want to buy the 15-year bond, you might want to wait and invest in the 10-year bond that will come on September 9th, September 10th. My recommendation is you buy the 15-year bond. It will have a higher cutoff yield. It will have a lower premium as compared to the 10-year bond, to the 5-year bond. Thank you.